Nick Saban is probably the greatest coach in the history of college football.
Yeah.
They got their behinds coached out of them last night.
On
Jesse
both
Minter
sides of the
versus
ball.
Tommy Rees. But that in particular, he just keeps dropping back and standing there and waiting to get sacked. How about just taking off and running? Every time he did it, it worked. They looked like they just wanted desperately to find somewhere to throw the ball no matter what happened.
I think part of this is Alabama is one of the most explosive pass play offenses in college football. I think they were like second or third in college football. And it felt like they were going to chase it. And Minter was going to make it very clear, like, you're not going to get the explosive plays. We're going to pressure you. We started the show talking about the snaps. I would love to hear your perspective, because I also think if you looked at on every snap, they had a guy on the center shoulder on purpose, and they would cross his face. So, like, it was a very
Explain what that means.
So Jeff can do it better than I can, but like they would put a defensive lineman on either the right or left shoulder, and once the ball got snapped, they would cross his face. So as an offensive lineman or a center, I would be thinking, like, you're not thinking just snap. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I got to snap, and then where's this guy going to make sure that you handle is the protection?
Yeah, you got to get depth. So from an offensive line perspective, the guy's crossing your face. You have to give yourself depth because you're one-on-one blocking him. So you have to be able to secure the block. So when you're snapping, if he's going from your left, you're a right-handed snapper, and he's going from your left to your right hand is slow. So if that guy gets to your edge and is pushing the quarterback, that's an issue. So you're trying to hurry the snap again in your head, get the ball up and get it across.
I get
all
it,
of those
but Jeff, we have to get the ball snapped. I mean,
Agreed.
this can't be the first time in the history of college football that someone has crossed the face of the center. Why do we have no answer for that all night long?
Again, this has been an issue for Alabama all season. This snapping has been an issue.
Hey, Jeff,
no surprise, right?
This is another example. I don't care what level of football. If you want to live in the shotgun, that's on you.
Agreed.
One of the ways that I think we're talking about stopping the pressure is by picking it up. I don't agree with that. You stop the pressure by making them pay.
Yes.
And they were unable to do that. If you blitz them and you pick up the blitz and get 5 yards, I don't care. I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
If you pick up the blitz and get 30 yards, then I'm done. And Alabama couldn't do that all night. Whether it's Milroe's decision making or the receiver's inability to get open or the scheme of it, it felt like more scheme than anybody because they got free runners. And if Milroe shakes one of those or they protect it and hit a big play, you won't see the blitz again.
Get Graz in here. Graziano, go.
I mean, look, it's tough for me because I'm used to watching the pro game, right? But I do watch all the bowls, as Hembo knows. But this looked like a typical sort of mid-December college bowl game, right? With all the mistakes. If it had gone the other way, we'd be talking about all Michigan's mistakes, right? Muffed punts. That Wilson, before the touchdown catch, has a block in the back that's completely unnecessary.
He's playing hard.
He's not playing hard. They almost blew the game here at the end.
That play was painful.
So I thought, watching the game, I'm like, again, it's college kids. I don't want to, but man, I think Michigan's going to have to be a whole lot sharper next Monday night because I don't think that Washington team's messing around.
It was not the prettiest game, I agree with that, but the drama was extraordinary when you consider everything that was at stake and everyone who was involved.
But that's why we were talking about before we came on. That's college football, right? Like it's going to be sloppy and goofy and everything, and then it's going to be exciting. And that was a great example.
That's the worst offensive performance I think I've seen Alabama have in my adult life.
Thank you.
It was shocking to see that they kept doing the same thing over and over again. And Nick Saban, for 15 or 20 years, has always done that to everybody else. Like Michigan really beat Alabama the way that Alabama has beat everybody. Like, we're going to take away what you want to do. We're going to attack your weaknesses, and we're going to see if you can and will adjust. And they never did.
Let me get Taylor in here. And of course, we all know, you are certainly more than excused for being happy with the result last night. But to take it to the other side, there isn't any question, it seemed to me, I defer to all of your expertise, the most effective offense Alabama had all night long was Jalen Milroe running with the ball, and it looked all night long like that was the last thing they wanted to do. They were trying to do, Taylor, everything they could to avoid that. I don't mean the defense. I mean their own offense looked like they were trying to do everything they could to avoid what was overwhelmingly their most effective offensive play.
Yeah, I think when it comes down, a lot of people like to talk about offensive coordinators and how egotistical they can be. If you have an efficient play and a run and you're trying to get the game going in the second half when Michigan's really ran the first half, you see the run, you see the athleticism, keep doing it. And obviously I'm excited about Michigan winning the game, but at the end of the day, we have to look at it with a critical eye. There were massive mistakes on both sides of the ball. If you're Alabama, you run it, you call the same play over and over again until they have to make an adjustment. Michigan, they're fighting a lot of problems early in the game. What they do, they stuck with the run. They allowed those safeties to start coming to fill in. Then they started moving their shots a little more downfield. They continually developed and played the game of chess over and over again. Michigan's not excused for the big mistakes they made when the first quarter you're sitting there and you're looking like, here we go again type of situation, but they were able to calm down. Nick Saban was very uncharacteristic of himself with not just seeing what's working, seeing what's not working, and then just beating what's working to death until they make an adjustment on defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me say this about Michigan too. Let's just not make it all about scheme. The scheme definitely they got coached, but man to man, Michigan knew they had an advantage on defensive line, and they exposed it time and time again. Like, you can call the greatest plays you want, but if you're getting blocked, getting pushed around, getting those things, it doesn't matter. To their point, Michigan at the one-on-one impact plays and impact players, they made more plays on the second down and the overtime when he slants. They're running like a zone concept with the backside, and the inside, they knew the advantage was on Michigan, and they played to that. Like, I mean, we can always talk about being out-coached, but at some point, players got to play. Tip your cap to Michigan, because them kids, they freaking brought it, and they made some big-time plays at big moments, and you got to tip your cap at some point.
In the first half, Michigan basically took Jalen Milroe quarterback run out of the game.
Yeah.
Now, Alabama lent itself to it. They had 11 negative plays, Alabama offensively. Michigan defensively with the sacks and TFLs, 11. So first down, drop back pass, 2nd and 16. Quarterback run's done. Great, run it. Get 6 yards. You're in 3rd and long. So now Alabama, again, consistently thinking that Jalen Milroe is just going to play shotgun drop back football, hurt themselves. But Michigan's aggression took that desired game plan out of it. To Taylor's point, Michigan never allowed Alabama defensively to get themselves out of rhythm. They never exposed themselves. J.J. McCarthy threw the ball 27 times. Guess how many sacks?
Zero.
Yeah. In a one-score game? That's huge.
And Danny, you know, as one whose job is to tell the story, it almost felt all year long like this was the only way for Michigan's season to end, is in the championship game with everything that has happened, and we will certainly dive into it, with all of the drama, with the roller coaster, the suspensions, and everything else. The last game of the season, Michigan will be there.
Add in what's looming over Harbaugh. We're going to be hearing a lot about Jim Harbaugh over the next couple weeks and connections to possible NFL jobs. So that's going to be hovering over this game as well. So absolutely, yeah, a storybook ending for sure to a very bizarre Michigan season.
Well, look, I mean, it is a storybook you want to read. Do you believe whatever happens next Monday night? I just mean that because you have to go, and we thank you for your time today. It came out funny. Do you believe, win, lose, or draw, that next Monday night will be Harbaugh's last game as the coach of Michigan?
I think it's a strong possibility. I really do. And I think they're going to be in good hands. I believe Sharon Moore should be the next head coach of the University of Michigan. He's done a phenomenal job. But when you look at the allegations, if they believe that something's going to happen, he knows he's going to be wanted. He knows the Chargers and the Raiders and the Bears, and everybody's going to want Jim Harbaugh. He's going to have the opportunity to dip, similar to the way that Pete Carroll did. I don't want it to happen. I love the fact that this guy's not playing by anybody's rules. I love the fact that he's sitting in a post-game press conference and saying it's an unfair advantage because of how close the team is. I think that is just beautiful trolling to the mainstream media, sports media, saying we hear all the noise, we get it, we're going to keep doing us. But I think at the end of the day, this is a business, and we're going to end up in a situation where Harbaugh is in the NFL after the season.
And then, Paul, how about the other side? Nick Saban, legend, tough night. There have been a lot of sort of ups and downs here. What do you see there? What are your expectations for him in that program now, coming off what was a very painful loss?
Really, it's complicated because there were a lot of people who felt that if Saban put another title down, that would be his 8th, 7th at Alabama, then that would be the ultimate time to walk away. Last night changes that, perhaps, but no one can really get inside of Nick Saban's head. But, I mean, there are a lot of signs all year long that pointed toward it. And even last night, he talked about how special this team was, how it really was probably the most special experience that he's ever had, because I think we all saw last night this team had so many flaws, and in Saban's mind to get there, but it's hard to imagine Nick Saban walking away after losing a game to Jim Harbaugh in Michigan in the semifinals.
Nick Saban should keep coaching. There is no taint if Michigan wins the national championship. Taylor, can you, ask Will Compton for us to confirm which teams Roman Wilson and Blake Corum would be on and get back to us, please? Thank you.
I will absolutely do that, brother. No question.
Thank you.
Give me something.